welcome to episode 56 of the Unwrapped Leader Podcast, where we get raw, real, and relevant in the new network marketing and helping you become a gifted leader in your business. My name is Teisha Dorianna from Canada.
And I'm Dracy Dewar from Australia.
And today's episode is a little bit of a continuation from what we talked about last week, and the same three-step method or technique is going to apply. But this week, we are going to be talking about sales objections. Rather, last week, if you missed that episode, make sure you go back and watch, because we do talk about a three-step technique that works both for sponsoring objections, which we went over last week, and it's also going to apply to this week when we cover these sales objections. So the first thing I want to start by saying is that objections are super, super normal. And if you're not getting them, you're probably not talking to enough people. Just think in your everyday life, when you go out, even shopping for clothes, or you go to a restaurant, right? Like you're looking at the menu, or you're looking at, the clothes on the rack, and you're coming up with reasons why, oh, I should get that, or I shouldn't get this, or I should try this on, or maybe I should try this dish today, right? And you have all these things in your head of why you should or why you shouldn't. And those are natural things. And we'll ask questions, right? We'll ask questions to the people working, anything that you're wondering about, like, is this going to fit like this? Or, is this going to be spicy? Is this, so we have objections for everything. And it's so normal. Yet sometimes I think we kind of get caught up and stuck and frozen in when people give them to us, when it comes to our product or service, that we have trouble with responding. So sometimes we just leave it, and then we don't even try and overcome it. We don't try getting to the bottom of what the real objection is and having that back and forth conversation with someone. So this feel, felt, found method that we talked about last week is a great way when overcoming sponsoring and sales objections. And it's going to work here too. So I'm not going to go over the whole method, because you guys can watch that in last week's episode. But just a very quick little recap is pretty much what you want to focus on is when someone is giving an objection, or someone is trying to find the best product or service for them. Number one is you want to listen to their needs. You want to listen to what they are actually looking for so that you can make a good recommendation. After you've listened to what they actually want, you want to empathize with their concerns. What are their pain points, right? Make sure you're kind of letting them know that maybe you felt the same objection or concern, or maybe someone has felt the concern. So really empathize with them. Let them know that what they're feeling is valid. And then last but not least, you want to address the objection clearly. You want to offer them a solution that your product or service may solve, whether that be the product or service they came in and was interested in, or maybe it's a different one that you'd recommend based on what they told you. And we talk about our products and services in many different ways. You might be in the affiliate marketing space, and you may be doing this business 100% online through your social media platforms. But you may also be in a party plan business where you do parties, and that's how you showcase your products. Maybe you do in-person events. Maybe you do online events. There's so many different ways that we could showcase our products today. But whatever it is, this three-step technique that we talked about last week, and these sales objections that we're going to cover with you very specifically, we want to give you guys some just clear examples, and we want to give you guys that confidence moving forward with sales objections. So with that being said, we're going to talk about 5 objections in particular that we feel are the most common. However, if you guys have any that aren't on this list, I want you guys to put it in the comments and let us know what kind of sales objections you're getting. Because if we get enough and we start to feel like, okay, people are getting more than what we had planned here, we could maybe even come do a part 2, or, even get in contact with us on Instagram, or wherever you could find us at the Unwrapped Leader. And we're happy to answer your questions and connect with you and just help you out in any way that we can in your business. So I'll let Dracy kick us off with the first common objection, and we'll go a bit back and forth on this.
So what you're saying is we'll do a part 2 of our part 2?
Well, yeah, part 2 of objections in general. But I mean, if there are a bunch of people with, other objections that they're getting, we could even do like a little segment in our gifted leader community, right? And do a little continuation there if we feel like we're getting a lot. So we'll kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, the gifted leader community is a great place to really expand and explore on each one, and really take a deep dive to what people are really going through, what's relevant in their business. But in all the years that I've been in the industry, These are the top ones. They're the same objections I got 30 years ago, and they're the same objections that the people that I'm coaching that are in the field that are, very passionate about their business are still currently getting. And let's just face it, our job is to showcase that this industry is helping, our friends with their passions, your girlfriend or your mom or whoever's in the network marketing business. The bottom line is, if you're supporting them, you're supporting their dreams and their passions. And would you rather support the big corporations and the big Amazons, or would you rather be supporting somebody putting their daughter in dance? And that's what the difference is when somebody actually purchases something from you versus purchasing from Amazon. I'm a huge fan of shopping local, supporting small businesses and supporting, the network marketing businesses, because again, it brings the dollar down and it helps out so far. It's a much further reach of support than anything. So I'm a really big advocate of it. And so that's why anything we can do, Teisha and I, that's why we're so passionate about arming our viewers, our audience to, being 10 foot tall and bulletproof. And so handling objections is probably the number one thing. When I first started, and when I tell people when they're getting started, the number one thing they want to learn is learning how to overcome objections and just get used to it. And it's just part of the business and it's fun. So I guess the number one objection is price, is cost. People maybe feel your services or your product is too expensive or overpriced compared to the alternative market. And let's face it, our shoppers are much more savvy than ever before. I know starting 30 years ago, bringing out candles, there was no competition. However, the price was very high valued. And so the bottom line is we had to explain what the difference is in the value of that product was. And now there's so much competition and there's so much going on. So you got to talk about your price point and what brings the value to it. So Teisha, I know with yourself, you're in a market that has got lots of competition, and the price point definitely could be an issue for some people. So what is it that you do? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so when it comes to the price being too high, I think the number one thing is that people are not necessarily seeing the value. I think that that's the real objection. It's not that, because for example, it's like people look like, so people, whatever, they end up with a partner, they want to buy a house, and houses aren't cheap, houses are expensive, and like people justify buying a house though, right? And at the end of the day, it's because they're like, we need to do that, that's a priority, like I need a roof over my head. So I know that's like a big example, but when it comes to a smaller product or a service, like people just need to see the value. Like, why do they need this in their life? So I think the most important part here is, one, when you're actually talking about your product or service, you need to lead with value. And even if you do lead with value, sometimes you're still going to get that objection that it's too expensive. So when you're using, say, the feel, felt, found method in this case, you want to empathize with them, like I talked about at the beginning, and let them know, like, I understand how you feel. And maybe you felt the same way before you got started on the products, or maybe someone it could have been another customer, it could have been someone in your downline, another teammate, right? And you could say, I totally felt this way, or, my teammate actually felt this way when she was kind of considering getting started on these. But what we found, and then what I like to do, if it's especially a product that's consumable, this is a good consumable example, is you could actually break it down day by day. So this could be like makeup. This could be a supplement, any sort of health and wellness supplement, makeup, anything consumable, basically baking stuff. You could say, listen, I've had this since like 2 years ago, or I've had this for this long. And when you break it down in a day by day basis, like this is how much it's costing you a day. And also when it comes to health and wellness, this is a very particular example. I like to break it down in the sense of you can pay $3-4 a day for your health, or you could pay for your health when you end up in a hospital down the road because your health isn't up to par, right? It's like, no matter what you are going to pay for your health, are you going to pay so that you can get better with your health now, or do you want to pay down the road when you end up struggling with these things? And I think also it has to be a priority to them. So you want to really, again, sell the value on why this is a priority in your life, or why it's a priority in someone else's life, what someone's life looked like before they started on this product and what it looks like now. So when it comes to overcoming it, I like to break it down in sort of like the per day basis. And also if you do feel that your product on the market is of better value, or if it is maybe cheaper than other products, then you could kind of do that comparison too. You just kind of, I guess, got to get to know like your product specifically and then the other markets. But that's kind of what I would say for that one.
Absolutely. And just to build on that, Teisha, is again coming down to most of our network marketing companies are of premium quality, of high value, and they search and research that, their research departments are really quite intensive. And so you can get things out there cheaper, but they're usually you get what you pay for. And that's probably the bottom line, is they get what they pay for. And the other thing is, again, if you're really addressing their problem, or, and how it can actually serve them. And so when you come from the place of, I'm not here to sell them, I'm here to serve them. And I'm here for the long term. So if it's not right now, it might be just not right now. So it's not no for now. It's not no forever. It just might be no for now. And it could take some time till they're ready to, do business with you. And I think that's the bottom line. Just yourself personally as a business builder, just know this is an objection. Just work through it yourself. Write this down, how you would overcome a feel, felt, found, and just take the time to just maybe how you would answer it. And just know there's safe practice and there's jungle practice. The safe practice is right now, Teisha and I, practicing how we would overcome that objection. And then the jungle practice is going out there and doing it. And you got to be bad before you're good and good before you're great. I know we said that a lot of times, Teisha, but I'm going to say it again.
Some things you just have to reiterate because they're so good and they apply to so many different things in this industry. But I think one more thing to consider with this objection as well is not everyone is going to be your ideal client. Like, you are going to naturally lose people because of price and because of the other objections we're going to talk about today. But it's so important too that you have such a strong belief in the value in the products or services that you hold, and hold that to a high standard. And some people are not going to be your ideal client, and be okay with it. Be okay with someone saying, I've had before someone say it's too expensive, blah, blah. And I'm not going to push them to buy it if it's too expensive for them, whatever that means, whether that means they're not prioritizing it or they actually don't have the money, that's their objection, and that's okay. And I just kind of, again, try and overcome it once, kind of break it down. But then I kind of just give them that, I relieve the pressure, and I just say, you know what, though, if it's not the right fit for you, I totally understand, and that's okay. But if you change your mind, you're welcome to message me anytime. And I've sent that message before, and the next day, that same person came back to me and said, you know what, screw it. I want to get this. I'm ready for this. And all of a sudden they have money, right? So sometimes money is not the true objection. It's really just, are they willing to make it a priority? Do they care enough about their health or whatever it is that you're selling? So.
And nobody wants to seem too easy to. Bottom line is you got to work for the sale. And this is the best part, okay, is if you're really listening, the objection, if they really don't have the money, I think it is, and it is lovely that they see that you're not pushy or pressure, you're just there to serve. But when the seed, it gives you the opportunity to plant the seed, is, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, that it was too expensive and I really didn't have the money. I had kids and mouths to feed. But what I found is the opportunity of being able to share these products allowed me to earn the products for free. So it's a really good opportunity to plant a seed about becoming a business builder and working side by side with you, so you can afford it and you can have it all at a much discounted price or a no price offer. So that's a good opportunity to plant that seed. So, okay, we ready for number 2?
Yeah. Do you want me to go with it?
Sure.
Okay. So the second most common objection that you may get is that they do not have time to commit to the product. So we talked about time as an objection in the sponsoring area, which I think is a lot more understood there, right? Because it's like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for this. But it's the same thing with sales, right? Whether it's a health and wellness or, makeup, whatever it is, it's like, oh, I don't have time to do all that makeup in the morning, or I don't have time to take this every day, blah, blah, blah.
Or I just don't have time to listen to you, what you have to offer.
Yeah, really, the time objection can be taken a few different ways, but people sometimes think like, I don't have time to fit that into my routine. And personally, I think once again, it does come down to priorities. And I think it's so important that you're really listening to what their health goals are. And sometimes in this kind of objection, this is where I like to kind of challenge people, but coming from a perspective of serving and just saying something like, hey, I totally understand. We all have super busy lives. Just out of curiosity, what are your main health goals right now? And what do you have time to make a priority? And I like to hear it from them, because the more information I can gather from them, the more I could learn about them and their goals, the better of a recommendation I can make, the better way I can overcome this objection. And you just have to be a good listener, and you have to have that genuine interest in people so that you can figure out what the best way would be to serve them. But Dracy, do you have any tips for overcoming this one that's slightly different? I feel like it's almost similar on how I overcome a lot of these objections. But
well, again, I wrote down as soon as we started questions, and then you did it. You actually overcame the objection with a question. And if you have a cheeky nature and can have fun with this, I love having fun with objections. And so that's a really good one that, like, well, if you had the time, could you see yourself, be interested in a little bit more information about it? Or if you had the time, could you see yourself actually try these products? Like, again, it's throwing an objection with a question and having fun with it and just really listening. And I really love I call it my fisherman approach. I put that little hook out there, and I just kind of, whatever their answer is it's okay. And I kind of, whether it's a relationship, then I always plant another seed, and then I back off and plant another seed. And then I kind of reel it in by just saying, like, why don't we at least take the time to explore the real options if it's for you or not? And if not, you might think of the type of person it's for, and at least I've had the opportunity to make a well-informed decision if it's for you or not. That's the key, is well-informed decision. And another one is are you open-minded enough to at least explore to see if this is for you or not? So just key questions, key words. That's a good one. Getting back to the money one too. I love, again, a cheeky question I'd like to throw back too is it the fun or the free product that you're not interested in? Like if I was actually offering them the chance that they couldn't afford it and said, well, if I showed you how you could get it for free or at a discount, would you want to know a little bit more about it? So those, again, are questions that you can have some fun with in that. So that's how I'd work with skepticism. And I think, or sorry, not skepticism. What was the question? Okay.
No time to.
No time. I'm sorry. I looked at my notes and saw the next one. But no time. I think that's going to always be a number one objection. So just get good with it and learn a good feel, felt, found with that one. Absolutely. All right. Number 3. There we go. Now, number 3 is skepticism, or just trusting you, or trusting the product, or trusting the company. They probably may have had a bad experience. So I guess really the question comes down to credibility and the reliability and the effectiveness of your product or your actual business model. So so that would be a really big one. And I think we did 2 episodes on the pyramid scheme thing. Just even if you're selling the product, they may not want to be interested because it is a network marketing company, period. So they kind of put that, and hence why we did that, those 2 episodes on having confidence with your pyramid scheme. But so how would you handle that skepticism?
I think that for this one, it's really important to set yourself up so that you don't get this objection. I will obviously say how I would overcome it, but I think that this just goes to show, if you get any sort of objection when it comes to like the trust of the brand, the trust of the product, you need to be doing a better job of connecting with your audience on a deeper level, because you might only have that surface level connection with them, and you're not making maybe a good enough effort to really get to know them, and once again, get to know them and their goals and asking them those questions. Because just by doing that and having genuine interest in people, you're going to eliminate this objection overall. And like, the how often you actually get this will be very low if you're actually taking the time to get to know people and build those connections. But if I did have someone come up to me today and kind of show interest, but you could tell they didn't really trust, because maybe they are a new person to you, and it's like, I didn't have that time to make that connection. So how do I actually overcome it in the moment? I think, again, it's getting to know the person, because you want them to feel and know that you have a genuine interest in their goals. You have a genuine interest in what they want to accomplish. And the more questions you ask, it's showing that you want to make them the best recommendation that you can. Because if someone just comes to you and says, hey, I want to order this, and you're like, okay, cool, here's my website, order it. Easy, you can get a sale done. But why would you do that? It's not creating long-term loyal customers. Because what if they get that product and it's not really what they thought it was? right? Like maybe they tell you, you ask them, yeah, for sure. What are your goals, if you don't mind me asking? And maybe you'll realize, oh, this product actually isn't probably what I would recommend. And then you actually recommend something that would help them. And then they go on to take that product. They love it. It works. And they want to reorder. They might even be a potential recruit for you down the road if you're looking to build your organization. But when it comes to, the trust, I think also, take a look at your products and what kind of social proof and just do you have around your products? Are they science backed? Are there clinical studies? Like what kind of stuff can you send them that would kind of put their mind at ease? Like, okay, this is legitimate. This is comparable to, or even better than what I'm already using. If it's like a product they're looking to kind of swap out because maybe their last one didn't work. And another thing I like to do too, when, they maybe don't trust is like, what have you tried in the past? Ask them, what have you tried in the past that hasn't worked for you or whatever. And then actually take a look and take time to like read labels. If it's a food product or like whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Look at ingredients, look at all the information behind it and make that comparison. Sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I'm not great at this because I'm someone who I don't look at like every single scientific detail in the background. Like I'm the person that I'm just really passionate about things. And I sometimes sell on, I guess, like a surface level. And I talk about like, the things that I love. But for example, if I'm looking at a product, I'm honestly not looking into the deep, like clinical study stuff, but I have friends who do. So a lot of times if you're like me and you're like, I don't look that deep into things, but you have customers that are like, I want to look deep into this. I go to my friends who are very like scientific. They know all about the studies. And I say, hey, like, what can I do? What can I do to, send this to like, this person is looking for like the deep stuff behind it. Can you kind of help out? And I get help from my teammates and people. Like, I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm not super sciencey and I don't look into all the deep detail. I feel like that's one thing that's like me and Dracy are kind of different. Like you're a very deep person in general. And I feel like I'm like surface level, just kind of like floating at the top.
Teisha, I actually very much used to be much like yourself. And it's just something over time. But I'll say what you're talking about that will help our audience understand too, is you're so busy picking the fruits, they're too busy digging at the roots. And so, I think that is a really great quality, but I think backs it up is facts tell, stories sell, facts tell, stories sell, and you are driven by the stories and you have so many passionate stories that drive you. So if someone you trusted has told you this is amazing, it's changed their lives, you're believing them. Whereas other people may need those facts to really believe and trust that. And I think it's just knowing whether your customer is a facts-driven person or a story-driven person. And that will really help you expand on how to explore and overcome that objection. And I think the social proof is really important. And our companies, again, bottom line, they invest so much money into the research and the science background. And that's just what you want to have armored. So you do feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So cool. All right. Are we ready for the next, or did you have something else to say?
No, I was going to get into our fourth one. So the fourth one being, and I kind of talked a little bit about this already, but I'll just expand a bit, is the competition, right? They can get the product elsewhere, or maybe it's kind of 2-in-1 where they're like, I can get the product elsewhere and I can get it cheaper. How many of you guys have actually heard that one? I can get it here and I can get it for a better price. Okay, so how do we break this one down? Well, it's going to come down usually to the value, right? And also not just the value, but the experience. Because one thing that we as network marketers have over any other brick and mortar store, retail store, is that we provide them with, we have the opportunity to provide them with the best customer service out there and with an incredible experience. And we do that through our customer check-ins, and we do that by staying connected with people and having a genuine connection. Like Costco isn't going to check in with you to see how you're enjoying your air fryer, okay? But maybe someone in, let's example, Pampered Chef probably is, if they're good at what they do, they're going to check in with you to see how you're enjoying your air fryer. If it's not going good, they're going to, something's wrong, they're going to replace it. They're going to, and I get it, Costco is going to replace your air fryer as well. But the point is the experience and the connection that you have with people and the ability that you can be the best customer customer service representative out there. And that was one thing I always pride myself on, is people have always told me how amazing my customer service is. And I've specifically had people say, I keep coming back to you because you make it so easy to shop with you. And you want people to say those things about you. Why are you laughing?
Okay, because look at the things I've bought from you, and I have my own products to buy, and and I even had you shipping product from Canada all the way to Australia when you didn't, the company you were with before didn't even ship to Australia. But it's just because I just wanted to buy from you, because I just did, not just because you're my partner and you're my buddy, but genuinely you're the kind of person I wanted to buy from, and I love supporting you and your dreams, and that's what it really comes down to. So I thought it was cute. I had to share that, Teisha.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I think, competition is it comes down to value, right? I think it's also important. I told you, I don't look into the deep stuff. I don't look into the sciencey stuff, but what I do look into is the other products on the market that could be, my competition, or like common objections that I would get. Those are the things I want to study. Right. And
and you're such a savvy shopper, Teisha. And I know the whole Gen Z, and generation are so savvy when it comes to shopping and looking at reviews. So when you say you just kind of surface, you're kind of very savvy and frugal, and definitely watch where you spend your money. So you definitely are good. You're a consumer that we need to overcome objections.
I look at prices, and I care for, it depends what kind of things. When it comes to like clean, non-toxic, I'm not like a green thumb, like I'm perfect, I only take clean, non-toxic things. Like I'm not like that with everything. There's certain things that obviously it's like, you should probably cook some food at home rather than go to eat McDonald's. Like that's what I mean by surface level. Like I'm not looking deep into things. Price wise, I've always been very frugal though, and I do like to do my research on specific things that, again, I prioritize and matter to me. So
yeah, so it just goes to show you have some things that you look for when you buy, and obviously it's good value for money and good reviews. And so what are you doing to do good value and reviews? And it comes down to, yes, there's a lot of competition out there. There's a huge amount of noise. Social media has been a great way to present and showcase the like, know, and trust, but it's also been a way where the competition is tenfold. Hence why it's so important for you to create your own personal brand story, know your brand pillars, because people are going to be attracted to you for more than the reason of you selling a certain product. They're going to be attracted to you because of the different passions you have that are very similar and like-minded to themselves. And that's what separates you from the competition. So I love that one. I think that's a good topic for sure. Was there anything else you want to say in that one, or should we move on to number 5?
Let's carry on.
What is number 5? Is it lack of objection? What is number 5?
Well, I had that people say they want it, but they don't need it.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Yep. Lack of need. Lack of need objection. I didn't read my notes properly. Lack of need objection. So there you go. That's, people may not be perceived that they may not have a general interest in your product or service being offered. So it's up to us. I don't want to use the word convince, but again, it's up to us to just really pay attention to what their needs actually are. And maybe they just don't see it, and it's up to you on how you position it in that sense. So again, it comes down to you really paying attention to them. I would really highly feel in that. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think that we honestly kind of answered this in the other objections. And I think there's just one bottom line, is like being like connecting with people on a genuine level and really finding out what they do need and what they do prioritize, right? It's like, I don't need it. It's like, okay, tell me what you do need. What do you prioritize? What are your goals right now? And you can literally use these questions that you've heard over this episode. You could use this for pretty much any objection. It's, I think the bottom line, it's just, you need to want, first of all, you don't just need to find out what they want, you need to want it. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have a genuine interest in people, or this industry is not going to work if you don't have that genuine interest. Like, this whole thing is about creating a network and building genuine connections and relationships. And I think that's the hardest part when people start this, is they think like, well, how many times can I just connect with someone and, not go into it thinking like I'm going to get a sale from it. And that's the thing. You need to go into those conversations just genuinely wanting to build a connection and genuinely wanting to serve people. And when you can wrap your head around that, and you can really just go into every conversation saying, what can I learn about them today? That's, that should be the goal in every conversation, is what can you learn about them? And if you can make a, product, service, whatever it be, recommendation, it might not even be your product or service. You might recommend something else outside of that, right? You just want to be of service, and you just have to, come to terms with, you need to be of service to people in every scenario of your life. And that's what's going to make you really, really great in this industry.
Great advice. And it comes down to, again, we talked about this before, is your Midas touch. That Midas touch. What are you going to do that's that little bit extra more than the other person, that extra value, so you can build trust with your audience and create, again, your brand story around your pillars, as well as be able to go in and engage with your community and reach out and find them what their real needs are. And so that's what it really comes down to. And as you said, Teisha, they're not everybody's going to be attracted to them. And that's why we talk about, if you look at yourself as a magnet, and you talk about, you want to attract, okay, you are a lead magnet yourself. You want to attract people, but not everybody's going to be attracted to you. So people are going to be naturally attracted to you, or they're going to be completely polarized from you. And that is what a magnet is. And it is okay. And that's why it's important to know who your audience is, who your niche is, who is it that you are serving. And so being a magnet is a fabulous thing, but it also, magnets, as you know, are polarizing as well. So be okay with that. So I guess I really just wanted to finish off with, it's exciting, this industry, and there's lots of great benefits and rewards in it. And if I was really to share with you, if you're really setting yourself up in this industry, there's three little tips that I highly recommend. Is number one is just really understand your product and your opportunity. Just really get to take a deep dive into the company. Why did you say yes? What makes their product so special and their opportunity amazing? So have a deep understanding. Number two, really work on developing your brand story and who it is that you serve. What's your mission and your message? What is your vision and what do you value, and how does it line up with your visuals and your voice? That is so powerful, so important to be able to do that. And then number three is start mastering the art of communication and sales skills. There is a closing, overcoming objection, planting seeds, but again, listening and being able to lead and lift people up to leadership. So if you focus on those three things, you're going to be amazing in this business. And you're probably already listening and already are amazing. You're already a leader in helping lifting other people to leadership. So you are our audience. We appreciate you. We love you guys so much. And we're just so excited that we can come here together and share this podcast. And I love working with you, Teisha. And just even myself listening to her answer those questions, it lifts me up. It's like, she's so spot on, and she's so smart, and she's so clever. And you've only been in the business now, you're coming on 6 years now, and you really, it's like going to university for your business. So I can literally officially give you your congratulations. You've graduated from network marketing, and you have a PhD in network marketing. Excuse me, in social skills. So as we wrap this up, I just wanted to say, Teisha and I have put together a lead magnet on mastering these 8 steps to overcoming objections so you can be successful in your business. And so we're going to be sharing it in our Gifted Leader community. So if you're not in the Gifted Leaders Facebook community, we'll have it in the show notes here. Please go and join our community. We'll be sharing this lead magnet so you can overcome objections with style and smooth and being 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So again, like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Have a great day. And next week, oh my God, do we even know our topic for next week? I thought about that topic. Remember that post you did on what kind of recruiting unicorn are you?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
I would love to expand that on our podcast. What do you think? Should we do that next week?
Sure. Yeah. That's a good one. So if you guys, one, you need to go watch how to overcome recruiting objections from the last episode. And then you'll be caught up and ready for which recruiting unicorn you are next week. We'll talk.
Boom. I love it. Excellent. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.